So I just love seeing that one rental at a time idea, framework, methodology, if you will, is gaining traction with more and more people kind of picking it up. We have a great guest who reached out to me on Instagram, shared a wonderful video summarizing some of his thoughts on one rental at a time. And I asked him, would he come online? And he said yes. So let's welcome Andrew to the show. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm pretty good, Michael. Thank you for inviting me. Glad I'm here.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for doing that video. It was very nice to hear and see. Let's do yourself a favor. Introduce yourself to the audience, your story, and then we'll get into more details.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm Drew. Actually, you know, military. I kind of ran into one rental at a time way back when. Yeah, I don't know if you want me to go right to the story, and
Go for it. Go for it.
so I was actually raised a little differently. I was raised very anti-credit, very you don't buy anything with credit. You don't buy anything unless you have cash for it, and so my finances, coming up as a kid was actually pretty good. I've had a job since the age of 12. My father's really big on working and really, really ground that work ethic into me, even from a very young age. And, several years ago, I joined the military right at 18, deployed, came back to Afghanistan, got married pretty early. So, my wife's the same wife that I actually dated back in high school. So we're, high school sweethearts. So married over 10
Nice.
years, kids. And, I think around the age of 25, we're just kind of going through life and going through our thing. And, one day I just woke up and I was like, man, if I want to retire at some point, I got to make more than what I'm making now. And we really have to just start making some changes. And I didn't really know where to go or what to do. So I just went where probably most people go to, which is, YouTube University, and started looking up like, all right, what should I do? Am I saving more? Am I buying something? Where do I even start? And it was really just a big puzzle piece of just, where do I go from there? And it really just opened up just a network of everything just bloomed all of a sudden, and you found so much information online. And I didn't, then I actually ran into Rich Dad, Poor Dad, very, very much like yourself. And everything that I had been taught of anti-credit, no, don't get into debt, no debt. And it kind of came crashing down after I read the Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it was just, I was like, man, yeah, I think what I learned later on was like the principles of no debt were good as a younger man growing up.
Sure.
So not buying something that you really don't need. But I think the concept of growing wealthy and becoming financially free, it was kind of like a must that you have to have some form of debt, of good debt and then bad debt.
Yeah.
And from Rich Dad Poor Dad, I just from there I actually ran into your channel, one rental at a time. One of your videos popped up kind of out of nowhere, and I watched it. I was like, man, this guy's really interesting. Let me start. Yeah, at that point I was following a whole bunch of financial channels, but yours really connected because kind of like your backstory where you were kind of doing the same thing, grinding through at an older age, around I think it was 30. And then you're like, yeah, it's kind of clicked the same way. Like, where do I go from here? Am I going to be grinding it out all the way into my 50s and 60s and never be able to stop? I think that's probably what, I think scared me the most was, will I have to work till I'm 70? And that really terrified me. And I was like, and that's what really pushed me to your channel. I was like, all right, where do I get that mentorship, and where do I get that advice from that's good, that actually works, and filtering out the really crazy, risky stuff to the point where, all right, this is manageable, this is doable, and there's proof, and kind of like proof in the pudding that this actually does work. And that's what kind of drew me to your channel.
That's awesome.